Okay, good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say that this is a lot scarier than any of the presentations I've had to do at school. But you know what, that's okay, because today I'd like to talk to you about risk-taking, something that I've been afraid of my whole life, yet here I am doing it right at this moment. So in the next 5 minutes or so, I'd like to share with you all why I think that everyone can use a little more risk in their lives, and how I was able to turn my weaknesses and fears into my strengths. I realized that most things that people perceive as risks are not actually risks at all. So a risk is ultimately any situation involving exposure to danger. So why would anyone want to do that anyways? After all, we face it every day in our lives. We can either choose to take the safe, boring route, or we can choose to take a chance and try something different. Risk is also a natural part of life, since it's impossible for us to know every possibility. But doing things differently once in a while can be a good thing, because life literally happens when you step out of your comfort zone. Now, when I was a little girl, I was super shy. So much to the point that I would cry when my parents made me talk to strangers, or when I had to do a presentation in front of 20 of my classmates, or even when there was nobody at home and I had to answer the phone. And don't get me wrong, I had big dreams, but there always seemed to be something getting in my way. So, I realized that the best way to do something is to just do it. So before, I used to always overthink every situation, thinking that I would make the right decision, but soon I realized that really wasn't the case. So I remember one night when I was surfing my Facebook page, and I realized this one friend was speaking at a TED event, so I decided to creep him. And I realized that this friend had so many amazing accomplishments and achievements, and I got really upset because I saw that he was achieving some of his dreams and I couldn't. So I asked myself, what was I so afraid of? At first I thought maybe it was because I was too young or too inexperienced, or people just didn't care what I said. But I realized it wasn't any of those, actually. It was because I was too afraid of the chance of failure. It was so easy for me to automatically believe what other people said was true and think that was how the world worked and there was no other way to do things. But I realized that was wrong as well. So what if I was too young or too inexperienced, or people didn't have to say? I can in fact use that to my advantage. I mean, what did I have to lose? That was it. What did I have to lose? So a few weeks ago, I watched a movie called Too Big to Fail about the 2008 financial meltdown. It was about these big financial institutions that had so much that even one small mistake can be disastrous to them. But how does that relate to me? I was definitely not too big to fail. I was actually too small to fail. I was the exact opposite. I mean, if I was already at the bottom, then failing wouldn't make a difference, would it? So, prior to starting my first business, I'd never taken any business courses at school. So I had no idea how to create a business plan or attract customers or manage my cash flow, which put me at a disadvantage. But I didn't let this stop me. Instead, I had two choices. I can either give up on something I've always really wanted to do, or I can take a chance and maybe fail. So I decided to take a leap of faith and do it anyways. And I found myself learning along the way, which I found was way more valuable than sitting in a classroom learning out of a textbook. So the next time these fake fears got to me, I promised myself two things. First, to say yes to every opportunity that's thrown at me. And two, to not overthink, because we often over-examine our risks the more time we think about it. In fact, I believed in my theory so much that this year alone, I was able to launch 2 of my own businesses, pitch at Ontario Centers of Excellence, as well as become a finalist in a nationwide entrepreneurship contest. And I can definitely add this experience to the list. So one of my dreams has always been to be able to come up here and openly speak about my ideas, but I always lacked the courage and experience to do so. So I decided to change this. So with my goal in mind, I decided to get out there and try it. And the more I talked to people, the more I forced myself out of my comfort zone, the more my fear started to disappear. And this enabled me to gradually step out of my comfort zone and experience life in a broader aspect. Now, small risks are definitely better than big ones, so I'm definitely not saying go home and spend all your life savings. Instead, I challenge you all to do one thing a day that scares you. And this allows you to gradually expand your comfort zone and explore more about yourself. So the more I accustomed to the idea of risk-taking, the more I was able to break free of the average way of living and thinking. So remember, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I challenge you all to take the first shot. Thank you.